שאלות? קרן? שלחת את השאלות? למה? עבר תאונה? תלמוד 10 ספירות, חלק א', נתחיל עם שיעורי הבית. בבקשה. אנחנו הגענו לאות י"ד, שיעורי הבית הם מהאותיות הקודמות.
לא, אותו מקום של לעשות את הקישור. ביוטיוב, כן. ננסה, אני עכשיו.
אתה לא מוצא סוף
אני אנסה,
לא יכול.
אני יודע איך זה עובד.
אני חושב שמה שנקרא חיים אצלנו,
יופי, שומעים.
שצריכה לשאוף, או לרצות, ולא להסתפק.
עכשיו אני צריך את הווליום של הרב, אני צריך יותר גבוה. אני צריך את הווליום של הרב הרבה יותר גבוה. מה זה כל מה שקורה שם ברקע עם כל מיני רעשים?
אז אני פרט בתוך אותו כלל.
אני בדיליי.
בצורה מקסימלית. ולכן אני צריך להיות אדם מקסימליסט.
אוקיי.
כמובן שאני מדבר מזה, כי זה לא היקף לוגי רציף.
אתה מקליט את זה? כן, אני שומע אותו. זה הרב כאילו?
היה במלכות אין סוף, זה לא...
אוקיי, רק תכתוב.
עוד לא הסברנו למה
We
כל
still haven't
אחד
explained why
מאיתנו
each one of us
גם צריך לחוש כמו
also needs to feel like the
אינסוף.
Ensof.
אם
But
נניח
if, let's say,
שהראינו את זה, זה לא
we showed it,
לכרגע,
it's not
אז
something
צריכים
that comes
לדעת
out now, but we need to
שכל
know
אחד צריך
that each
לשאוף
one needs to aspire
בצורה אינסופית של
for
הרצון.
an endless form of the desire. Were there any other questions?
אנחנו בשאלה השנייה.
We're in the second question. These are all more questions.
מיקי?
תגיד לו שילך ללינק הזה, כי אמרתי לו סקייפ.
את עם התאונה. אחד שיעורי בית.
Did you prepare homework?
שנה. אוקיי.
תקראו את השאלה.
עוד לא הכירו את השאלה.
The question has not been read
מה
yet.
ההבדל
What's the
ברצון
difference between the
לקבל
desire to receive
תהייתו באינסוף,
in the Ensof before the restriction and its
existence?
existence after the restriction? Okay. What I understand is that in the Ensof, the desire to receive was not separated. There was no difference between the light and the... meaning there was no separation, but it wasn't felt. That's right. And after the restriction, it was separated.
ואיזה עוד הבדלים את
And
יכולה
what
לראות
other
ברצון?
differences can you see in the desire?
איזה עוד הבדלים את יכולה
What other
לראות
differences
ברצון?
can you see in the desire that's before the restriction and the one that's after? The desire has no... The desire after restriction has a change all the time. In its form. The matter is the same, the desire to receive, but its form always changes based on our work. Okay, you want to add anything, Yael?
לא, אני לא בטוחה שזה...
I'm not sure.
אולי לפני הצמצום
Perhaps before the
היה
restriction there
רק
was only sort of
רצון
a
לקבל
desire to receive
בשביל ההכרח
for the necessity
של המלכות אינסוף,
of
זה לא זה?
Malchut Ensof.
זה לא לכך, היא דווקא קיבלה את כל האור.
Well, she actually received all the light, says the Rav.
יש לנו עוד הבדל,
We have another difference
שלפני הצמצום,
that before the restriction
לא היה אסור לקבל.
it wasn't prohibited to receive in order to receive. After the restriction, we are not allowed to receive in order to receive. And therefore, this desire
שהיה
that
באינסוף,
was in the Ensof
כלי, לאחר מכן,
was
הוא הפסיק
a
להיות
vessel, but
כלי. הוא הפך להיות
later
רק
it
חומר
was not a
כלי,
vessel
ולא
anymore, it
כלי.
was only sort of like raw material.
אוקיי, שאלה רביעית.
Okay, fourth question,
כן, בבקשה.
please.
דניאל.
Daniel,
אחרי הצמצום.
after the desire,
כי
the
כבר אי אפשר
restriction.
להשתמש בו.
Because we cannot use it as a vessel anymore where light is received.
אפשר לקבל רק כשיש יותר דבקות.
Because it can only receive if there is adhesion of form.
את יכולה להעביר קדימה את המיקרופון, בבקשה. בבקשה, דניאל.
Please, Daniel, read the question. How is it correct to conduct a relationship of love which is desired, where only one side is willing to invest in this relationship?
אפשר לקיים קשר של אהבה.
How can a relationship of love exist if only one side
רוצה להשקיע,
wants to invest
משקיע
or
בקשר
actually
האהבה.
invest in this relationship of love? I wrote that you need to reject the desire, my desire,
כתבתי
I wrote that
שלדחות את
I
הרצון
need to
שלי
reject
לקבל בחזרה את
my
האהבה
desire
הזאת
to receive this love
ולתת על מנת
and
להשפיע
to give in
כמו
order to
אהבה של
bestow
אבא לילד.
like a love of a father to a child, which is unconditioned and with no accounts.
אבל אז אם צד אחד
But then if one side gives
את אהבתו,
his love
הצד השני
and the
תהיה
other
אהבה
side
חלוטה.
will have like a complete utter love, so the side that
אמרנו
receives,
שאהבה חלוטה,
we said that
אהבה
utter
מוחלטת
love,
מצד
complete
אחד,
love from one side
היא אינה אהבה.
is not love.
אם רק צד אחד אוהב את
If only
הצד
one
השני,
side
אבל
loves
לא
the other,
מאפשר,
so
הצד השני לפעול
he
כלפיו,
doesn't allow the other side
אז זאת לא
to
אהבה.
act towards it,
אהבה חייבת להיות
towards him,
משני הצדדים.
it is not
אבל שאלנו,
complete
התגרנו
love.
את
But we
עצמנו
asked and we
בשאלה,
challenged ourselves with a question
בשיעור
in the
הקודם,
previous lesson.
האם יכול להיות שצד אחד
Is
אוהב
it possible
מאוד את
that
הצד
one
האחר,
side loves the other very much,
למרות שהצד
although the
האחר
other
לא
side
אוהב אותו?
does not love him?
אמרנו שאפשרי.
We said that it's possible,
נתנו דוגמה
and we gave an example
עם ילדים למשל.
with children, for
נתנו
example.
דוגמה גם את הקדוש
We
ברוך
also
הוא.
gave the example of the blessed be
שהוא
He,
נותן לנו אהבה
HaKadosh Baruch
מאוד
Hu,
מאוד
that
גדולה.
He gives us a
הוא
great
בטוח אוהב
love,
אותנו
and
בצורה
He surely
שלמה.
loves us
כמו הצדיקים
completely,
שאוהבים
like
כל
the
אחד
righteous that love
מעם
each one of Israel
בצורה שלמה.
in a complete
אבל
manner,
כל אחד מעם ישראל אוהב אותם.
but not each one in Israel
שלא
loves
כל אחד
them,
אוהב את הקדוש
or
ברוך הוא.
not everyone loves the
למרות
Kadosh
שהוא
Baruch
אוהב
Hu,
אותו.
even though the
זאת
Kadosh Baruch Hu loves
אומרת
him.
שזה שצד אחד
Meaning the
אוהב,
fact that one side
זה אפשרי.
loves, it's possible,
אבל
but
קיום האהבה
the
לא
existence
יכול,
of this love,
אין ביטוי
there's no
לאהבה
expression of
הזאת,
this love
אם לא שני
if
הצדדים אוהבים.
both sides do not love,
ולכן,
and therefore
אמא, לא תימשך.
it's not going to prolong. Well, it can prolong on the one hand. The father can always love his son, but
לא תמיד הבן
not
יואב.
always the
וגם
son
כשהבן
will
לא
love the
אוהב,
father.
כשאבא אוהב,
And when both the son and the
כשהאיש
father
אוהב, וגם
loves,
כשהאישה
or when the man
אוהבת,
and the wife and the woman
האהבה הזאת
loves,
יכולה לא
then
לקבל
this
ביטוי.
love can
אם
be
לא, היא לא
expressed.
יכולה לקבל ביטוי.
Otherwise, it
כמו שאהבה
cannot
בינינו
get any
ולבין
expression.
הבורא יתברך, לא
Like
מקבלת
the love
ביטוי.
between the Creator and us does not get any expression. Sometimes they're all kind of prohibitions.
לכן צריך שהאהבה תהיה משני
Therefore, we
הצדדים.
need the love to be from both sides.
אז כיצד נכון לקיים?
So how is it correct
קשר כשרק
to
צד אחד משפיע?
conduct this type of love when
חייב
there's only
לתת
one
לצד
side?
האחר.
Well, he has
אם הוא אוהב אותו,
to let the other side, if he loves him
צריך לתת
or
לו
her,
מקום
he has to
לבטא
leave him
את אהבתו.
the space to
ואם הוא
express his
משאיר לו
love.
מקום
And if he
לבטא
leaves
את
him the
אהבתו,
space
בצד
to
האחר
express
הוא
his
לא
love,
מבטא את
and the
אהבתו,
other side does not express his
אז לא
love,
תהיה אהבה.
then there won't be love.
אי אפשר להכריח
We
אותו.
cannot coerce
אפשר
him.
לגרות אותו
We
למקום
can
הזה,
trigger him.
אפשר להשאיר לו מקום.
We can leave him the
שבו
space.
הריקוד,
Think like a dance
לשניהם יש
of
מקום, רחבה משותפת.
where there's a
צריך
dance
לתת
floor,
מקום לצד השני,
and we
לא
have to give the
להשתלט.
other place, the other
אבל
side, a
בחר
place
משותף.
to dance and not overcome
היו עוד שאלות?
and
אסף,
coerce
אתה
the
שואל?
dance floor.
למה לא היה לך קשה? היית עסוק בעבודה עם הילדים.
Stop, did you prepare the homework? Was it hard?
לכם שיעורי בית.
What? Oh, you have to prepare homework.
היה לך את השיעורי
Yum,
בית.
did you prepare?
היה לך תאונה.
You had an accident, huh?
אוהב מישהו רק אם הוא אוהב אותך בחזרה, אז
If you love someone only,
מה?
לא זה מה
that's not
שאמרנו.
what we said.
אמרנו
We
שאפשרי
said that it's
שצד אחד
possible
אוהב,
that one side loves,
גם אם הצד
even if
השני
the other
אוהב.
side doesn't.
אבל
But
האהבה לא תבוא לידי
the
ביטוי
love is not going to
אם רק צד אחד
be
אוהב.
expressed if only one side loves. And another thing we said is that if only one side loves,
אז הוא צריך
then he needs to
לאפשר
allow
באהבתו
with his love
לתת מקום לצד
to allow
השני
the
להביע
other
את
side
אהבתו.
to express his love or her love. And if he only gives and the other side only receives,
זאת לא אהבה.
this is not love.
זה אהבה
It's
פגומה.
defected love.
לכן גם הקדוש ברוך הוא,
Therefore, the Creator,
למרות שהוא אוהב אותנו
although he loves
בצורה
us
מלאה,
utterly,
הוא לא נותן
he
לנו
still
בצורה
does
מלאה.
not give us fully.
למה? הוא
Why?
אוהב
He
אותנו.
loves us.
כי אהבה היא לא רק
Because
נתינה.
love is not only giving.
אני זוכרת שהרב הסביר עוד
I
דבר
remember
שלי כאילו...
that the Rav explained something that was seemingly new and important, that how will we know that we really love
בצורה שלמה
in a
למרות
complete
שהשני לא.
way, although the other side doesn't?
הרב הסביר
And the Rav explained
שאנחנו צריכים לראות בתחומי
Then we
חיים
need to
שונים
look in
שלנו.
different areas of life,
איך אנחנו שם פועלים,
how we
אם זה
act
תכונה
there,
שלנו, אם זה
if it's
שזה
a characteristic of ours
תכונה
or
אישית שלנו,
some
או
trait,
שזה רק במקרה.
or is it only in the specific incidents?
באחד
השיעורים שאיך אפשר לדעת אם
We asked in one of the
הגעת
of the lessons, how can we know if you have reached the word of Atzilut? And you said when you're going to reach it, you'll know. Okay.
טוב, אז בואו נמשיך.
Okay, let's continue.
אנחנו כמדומני
We are, I believe, in letter 14.
עוד י"ד,
Letter 14
בעמוד י"ח.
on page 18.
כותרת,
The title is
צמצום,
Tzimtzum
פירושו
means
שהמלכות
that
לאינסוף
Malchut diminishes
נהייתה הרצון
the will
לקבל
to receive
שבה,
in her,
ואז
and then
נעלם האור,
the or disappeared.
כי אין אור בלי...
Because there's no o without kli.
נסביר קצת את
Let's
הכותרת.
explain the title a little.
צמצום,
Tzimtzum,
אנחנו
when
מדברים
we
עליו
speak
הצמצום
about it,
שהיה באינסוף.
about the Tzimtzum in Sof,
שהמלכות, זה
where
נקרא
the
שהמלכות
Malchut, that's what's
לאינסוף
called the
נהייתה את
Malchut,
הרצון לקבל שבה.
diminished her
שימו
desire.
לב,
Notice that
זה לא
it's
שצמצמה
not that
את
it
האור.
restricted the light.
מה היא
What
צמצמה?
did Malchut and Sof restrict?
את הרצון לקבל.
Her desire to receive.
ואז אם אין רצון
And then if there's no
לקבל,
desire to receive,
או הוא
or
מצומצם,
it's restricted,
אז האור
then the light
ממילא נעלם. מה זה נעלם?
disappears anyway. What does it mean disappears?
כלל, אין
Because
אור
it says
בלי
there's no light
כלי.
without
אם
a
נרצה
kli.
לדייק את זה,
If we want to
איך לומר שמעון?
make it more precise, how would we say it, Shimon?
שאם אין לי
That
כלי,
if
אז
I
אני לא
have
יכול
no
לקבל את האור.
vessel, kli, I
אוקיי,
cannot
זה
receive the
כבר
light.
יותר טוב מאיך
Yep,
שזה
that's already
כתוב.
better than what
כי
it's
הרי יש
written.
אור גם אם אין כלי.
Because there's light even if
רק
there's
אין
no kli.
תפיסה באור.
But there's no perception in the light if there's no kli.
אני לא יכול לתפוס
I can't perceive
או לא יכול
or
לקבל
cannot receive
את האור,
the light.
אבל אנחנו אומרים אין
But we
תפיסה
say
באור.
there's no perception in the light without a vessel.
שגם אם יש
So
אור,
even if there
וגם
is
פה יש
light,
עכשיו אור אינסוף,
oh, like here, oh and so,
אנחנו לא יכולים לתפוס אותו.
but we cannot perceive it.
כמו למשל שאם
Like
יש
for example,
אור
if there
אולטרה
is
סגול פה,
ultraviolet light, we cannot perceive it here because we don't have the ability
אור כזה.
to see such light. There's no
לכן
ability.
צריך כלי כדי לקבל.
Therefore, we need a vessel, a kli.
עוד י"ד, זה הייתה
Letter 14, that was the title.
וזהו דבר הצמצום.
Regarding the Tzimtzum,
אשר הרצון לקבל,
the will to
הכלול
receive
באור אינסוף ברוך הוא,
that is contained in O and Sof,
המכונה מלכות דאינסוף.
called Malchut
אז
the
איך מכונה
Ensof.
הרצון לקבל באינסוף?
So what is it called? The desiring the Ensof?
מלכות דאינסוף.
Malchut the
נכון.
Ensof, correct.
שהוא סוד
Which is
מחשבת
the
הבריאה
thought of
שבאינסוף.
creation,
הכולל את כל
and which
המציאות.
contains the entire
זאת אומרת,
creation.
באותה מלכות שיש באינסוף,
But in the Malchut of Ensof,
היא בנויה מט'
it's
ראשונות
built of the
ומלכות.
first 9 and Malchut.
בט'
In the
ראשונות
first 9
ובמלכות,
Sefirot within the Malchut,
זה נקרא
it's called
מחשבת
the thought
הבריאה.
of creation.
היא, אותה מלכות,
The same Malchut
השתה בעצמה
embellished herself
להתעלות
to
ולהשוות תורה
ascend and
ביותר.
equalize her
לעצמתו
tzuah, her
יתברך.
form, with his atzmut.
המילה קישתה היא
The
משמעותית
word
מאוד.
embellish is very important.
מה הכוונה
What does it mean
קישתה?
embellished? Adorned.
קישתה, הכוונה היא
It
שהיא לא
means
חייבת,
that she doesn't have to,
אלא זה קישוט
but rather
עודף.
it's some sort of a
עודף על
excessive
מה שחייב.
adornment
מה חייב?
on what's needed, on what's
אתה
necessary.
רוצה לקבל.
What does she need? She needs the
היא
desire
קיבלה
to
כבר את
receive,
כל
and she
האור.
already received all the light.
יותר מזה שאני
Meaning,
מקבלת את כל
more
האור אני
than
רוצה.
me receiving the entire
מה את
light,
רוצה
I
יותר?
want more.
אני רוצה צורה
What is it you want?
מיוחדת,
I want a
שדומה
special
לצורת
form
הבורא,
which is
שאני אהיה
similar to the
משפיע
form of the Creator
ורק
that I'll
בתנאי
be
הזה
bestowing,
של אהבה
and only
וליתר
in that
דבקות,
connection
אז
of
אני
love
יכולה
and
לקבל את
adhesion,
האור.
dvekut, I'll be able to receive the light.
עוד לא הגענו כאילו לקישתה.
We haven't reached
כאילו עוד לא הגענו
the embellished
לקישתה.
yet,
כאילו
because
עוד לא הגענו ליתר דבקות.
we haven't reached the adhesion.
במה לא הגענו?
What do you mean we have not reached it?
בחיים שלנו.
In our lives?
תיקון.
In our correction.
אתה אומר עוד לא סיימנו
So
לתקן.
you're saying we haven't finished correcting it? You're right.
אנחנו עוד לא סיימנו
We have
לתקן.
not finished
אבל
correcting,
באינסוף,
but in the Ensof,
הכל היה מתוקן.
everything was already corrected.
רק היא עכשיו התחילה
But
את התהליך.
she,
מה שהיא אומרת,
Malchut
אני
Ensof,
בוחרת ביתר דבקות.
she says, I
אתה
choose
צודק שזה לא אומר שהיא כבר
addition.
ביתר דבקות.
התהליך מעצמה.
כן.
Yeah.
היא מתחילה את התהליך
She
מעצמה.
starts the process by herself. She chooses
למה היא בחרה
more
ביתר
adhesion.
דבקות?
And why did you choose more adhesion? Yeter dvekut?
אין סיבה.
No reason.
אין סיבה.
No reason.
למה אין סיבה?
Why no reason? Because if there was a reason, that means there was something that would coerce her to do that. That means she had a lack. But we said that it's ensof. By ensof, in the ensof there is no lack. There's no deficiency. That means she chose more adhesion with no prior necessity that made her do that. That's why it's called embellishment. Because she doesn't have to do it. In the Malchut Ein Sof, there is a desire there and also a vessel. There's a desire and a vessel. That's what we said, right? I don't understand. What? There's a desire. Yes, there's a desire to receive. So that means there's a lack. Yes, but we also said it's full of light. So the deficiency was not sensed before the restriction. Before the tzimtzum. The desire to receive in the Ein Sof is before the restriction. And he was filled with light. Like we said, before the emanations, before the creatures were emanated, there was endless love filling the entire reality, and there was no place in the discernment of halal or empty space because everything was full of light. So that was the condition, that was the state. Afterwards, she chose more adhesion. She embellished herself. And when she embellished herself, therefore, he says, after she embellished herself, she diminished her will to receive his shefa, his sustenance, in Bechinat Dalet of the Ratzon. Why did she do that? Because she has shame. Was there shame in the Ein Sof?
No.
No. There was no shame. Where was there shame? After the restriction. After the restriction. That means after the choice in the world of Tzimtzum, but not in the Ein Sof. Why can I not say that in the Ein Sof there was a shame? Irit? Because then it turns out that there was a deficiency, a lack, if there was a shame. Right, and it's not possible that there will be a lack in the Ein Sof, because we were told that the Ein Sof has no lack, no deficiency. So it can't be that it was because of shame. It's a very bitter and important mistake that many places teaches that way, that because of the shame, that's why the restriction happened. We need to be precise about this. The choice of adhesion, they teach that the choice for more adhesion was because of the shame, and that's not true. We say that the choice of adhesion, first there was a choice in more adhesion, and then there was shame. Because if I chose more adhesion and I cannot apply it, then I start being ashamed. How is it possible to choose more adhesion before the tzimtzum? If there was separation, she wouldn't choose more adhesion. She would say, I need more dvekut. She didn't choose because of lack. The choice of more adhesion was not evoked because of any deficiency, even though there was no equivalence of form, like he says in letter 30. There was completeness there, and there was adhesion, but with no equivalence of form. How? In the Pirkei Rabbi Eliezer, he says there is no concept, there's no perception in him whatsoever. We don't understand how it happened, but because even though there was adhesion, equivalence of form, there was still no separation. It's hard to perceive that. It's not only hard, it's impossible. There is no perception in him whatsoever. We have no perception there whatsoever. Our entire thought works only after the tzimtzum, not before. And we really can't understand that. Yeah, please. If it's an embellishment, then my question is it possible to have a different embellishment? Why this one specifically? If we have the word embellishment, kishut, it already brings the thought that perhaps there's another option. Well, we learned that the desire in the upper is a necessary force in the lower. So since she chose Mortesian, that means that all the discernments below it are obliged by her. So we're asking, could there be another choice, another selection? No, because all the other choices are below this choice. So when we choose something, we cannot go back. We also studied in part 6, in letter 16, that everything that comes from its emanation, it does not change. Never. Anything that comes from its root, from its source of emanation, does not change. There were two things that came from their source of emanation: one action of the Creator and one action of the creature. The action of the Creator, that he created the Bria, the creation, and what was the second? The desire, the choice in more adhesion. Therefore, it will never change. Everything will happen within this framework, within the framework of the creation, within the framework of love of Hashem. Everything within this framework. And these are exactly the two absolutes that we need to go by, and we need to connect them. What does it mean, shame in spirituality? Because the shame we are speaking here is not the same shame that we speak here. We don't even know how it manifests. So you're asking, what is shame in spirituality? You have good questions, Yam. The answer is, you're right. It's not some sort of it says that the busha is the opposite letters of shuva. The word busha and shuva, it's like the opposite letters. So the shame creates the shuva, the return. How can I explain emotion to you? I can explain emotion to you only through things we know. We cannot explain emotion. What I can tell you is, it is a feeling that you don't worth anything, that you receive not on your own behalf. So does that mean you felt that, Rob? Did you feel that spiritual state that you're trying to explain me? What I feel or not is not the point here. What do you feel? I still don't feel. You don't feel ashamed when you receive. Let's say you know something, and somebody comes and wants to give you some kind of a notion and says, let me do you a favor, I'll tell you that. How do you feel? You wanted to do it? No, because I feel I know a lot. So try to feel what it means that when somebody takes your role and you want to do that role, and somebody does it for you and doesn't give you the option to express yourself. So this sensation of shame is that the person does not express himself in life or in a dialogue. He cannot do it on his own part. So Rob, in other words, we need to feel it, because otherwise you can't tell me what it is, because it's only a feeling. So it only has to come from a feeling. Right, it has to come from a feeling, but we can also get it closer through our brain by explaining it a little bit. But through things that you felt in other things, you can more or less deduce. Like I tell you that this chocolate is tasty, and you know what tasty is, so you understand what I mean. But you really need to experience that within yourself. I didn't understand why there was no equivalence of form. Why wasn't there an equivalence of form in the Ein Sof? Well, because the desire to receive is different than the sustenance, the shefa, that's within the O. The shefa is expressed within the desire to bestow, and the Ein Sof had a desire of receiving. So how is he going to have a form of bestowal? What does it mean? I understood that before the creature was created. Well, before the creature was created, there's nothing to speak of. So that's what I understood. That before there was the creature, there was no equivalence of form. Between whom and whom? Oh, okay. Plishima. Rob, I understand that after the restriction, the Tzimtzum, the creature felt shame, busha. But the question is whether if in the Ein Sof there was shame. No. Why not? Yeah, maybe not shame, but maybe there was in the desire. No. Not even that. Because it's a desire that makes no end. So if there was a shame, there would be an end. Because we studied before that in the Ein Sof, there are the two opposites that exist in one subject. So seemingly, if you can feel shame, that means that there was some kind of a descent in the Ein Sof. Perhaps the ability to feel shame was an option? No. There's no such an option. From within separation of two things. For example, in the water you cannot feel the oxygen. But if we will separate the water, we'll have oxygen. Meaning when the situation is together, that everything separate doesn't work. But since there was completeness there, so there's no shame. There's no potential for shame. Where did it come from? The force of separation. When we separate something, when everything stands in and of itself, then you can feel the shame. The embellishment is the actual choice of more adhesion, yeter dekut. Yes.
אז לפי זה בושה זה דבר טוב או לא?
So according to that, is shame a good thing or not? Well, good and bad, we have to see in relation to the goal. To feel shame is good in a place where I don't have more adhesion, and if I won't feel the shame, I won't be able to correct. So it's good for the path to feel shame, but in the goal, not. And on the other hand, yeah, it is separation. It doesn't connect me to the goal. It stems from separation, but the question is, are we allowed to disassemble the puzzle in order to assemble it? Yes? Why? So we can rebuild it. So we'll learn how to build. That's what the Creator does to us. He brings a male and a female, they're separated, and we have a role to connect. We have friends. We were together, connected once. Your puzzle was always assembled? He would keep it assembled, built. Yeah, we have some lazy people like that. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu, He disassembles our puzzle, whether we like it or not, because He loves us. Okay. So let's continue inside. She therefore diminished her will to receive his shefa in Bechinat Daled in the Ratzon. Her intention was that by doing so, the Olamot would emanate and be created down to משהו קרה פה. אל תקרא ליהודה, אני לא שומע. זה פתאום ניתק פה. זה שם מתנתק או במחשב? זה השידור, זה מה שחשבתי. אז מה, איכות טובה? שומעים את זה טוב? די, באמת. גדול, מבסוט, שמע את לב ים. אני רואה עכשיו משהו כתב פה. הללויה. הנה. והווליום שלו?
אז הוא אומר שזה היה בכוונה...
So he says that it was with the intention in order to emanate and create the worlds, meaning the discernments of concealment, because that's the place to work, because the worlds are the place where we work.
שבאופן זה...
That in this manner, לא, זה עוד פעם, זה קופץ פה. יש פה איזה sleep או משהו?
אז הוא אומר שזה היה בכוונה...
So he says that it was with the intention emanate and create the worlds, meaning the discernments of concealment that there are the place of work, because the worlds are the place of work.
שבאופן זה...
That in this manner,
מותקנת צורת הרצון
there will be a form established in order to receive, meaning the individuality, the body,
ותשוב
and
אל צורת השפעה.
it will return to the form of
תשוב,
bestowal.
עדיין שהמחשבה
Teshuv, return, will mean that the thought is at the end of correction. No, לא שומע.
ההיעלם שיש, כי זה מקום לעבודה. כי העולמות הם מקום לעבודה.
The worlds are a place for work.
שבאופן זה
That in there,
תהיה מותקנת
there will be
צורת הרצון לקבל,
the form of the desire to receive, established,
דהיינו הפרטיות,
meaning the individuality, the body,
ותשוב
and it will return
אל צורת השפעה.
to the form of bestowal.
עדיין שהמחשבה
באמת אם משדרים את זה במהירות נמוכה יותר, באיכות נמוכה יותר, זה יותר flowing כזה? הוא אומר שאולי הוויס של הרב צריך קצת יותר נמוך. אבל אז אני לא שומע את זה. כן, זה משפיע על מה שאני שומע או שזה למוניטור שלו? אוקיי. אני שומע.
לא, זה לא משנה, אתה בחרת מלכתחילה.
But it doesn't matter, you chose from the start. So what if I chose?
שזה לא קשור שהוא
That
טוב
it
ומטיב.
doesn't have to do with the fact that he's good and benevolent. Good and benevolent because he gives you the light.
למה אתה פה? בגלל
But
שהוא...
it doesn't tell us why we're here.
בעולם
What do you mean here? In this world, to correct.
כי אתה רוצה לתקן.
You're here because you want to correct.
אבל הוא צריך לתך רשות.
But he has to give you the authority, the right to do that. You're telling me, Kadosh Baruch Hu, I want to correct. Can I do it? He says no, not no. He says no, he says no. He says no, no. Okay.
לא, אבל הרב, אני
But
מדבר
Rav, I'm speaking of from the start.
אנחנו הבחירה הראשונית...
The initial choice was ours.
ההתחלה, כאילו, הצעד הראשון.
The first step was ours.
כאילו, השם לא יכול
Meaning,
לעשות הבחירה בשבילנו.
Hashem could not make this choice for us. We did it, right? So how could people say that
שאנחנו...
the choice is not to come to this world. The choice is for more adhesion. יתר דבקות. לא שומע?
כי אם רוצים להגיע ליתר דבקות.
Only if we want to reach more adhesion. לא, זה נקטע. טוב, אבל הסיסטם עובד, זאת אומרת, רק עניין של מהירות, בסדר, צריך את המהירות, אבל נראה שהשיטה שלך עובדת, זאת אומרת, הוא מדווח פה על תוצאות טובות, שמע, אתה רצת פה, אני לא יודע איך עשית את זה, אבל... זאת אומרת, עכשיו רק צריך את המהירות, כן, שיהיה consistency, וזה חשוב. אז... אוקיי. He allows us to work. Is it good or not? Well, he can allow us or not, but the initial choice was ours. What does it mean, our choice? What did we choose? That he didn't do it. What did we choose? More adhesion. So we chose more adhesion. So can we do what we chose? Let's say you want to be a bird. Yeah, but it doesn't matter, but we chose first. So that means it wasn't his choice, it was our choice. The choice is not the beginning of the start of the thing. Let's say I choose to do something now. Let's say to go from here to the door. That doesn't start the action. The choice is only a mental motion of my own. The choice needs to trigger me to do the action. So before some sort of a mental stimuli? Let's go on. Thus the tzura of the will to receive would be corrected and return to the tzura of bestowal, and that will bring her to ishtavut tzura with the matzil. Meaning it automatically happens when the light withdraws. It doesn't mean that she rejects the light. What does she do? She diminishes her desire to receive, and then the light withdraws. For it is known that the O depends on the ratzon, and the ratzon, the desire, is the place of the O, because there's no coercion in spirituality. What does it mean that the O is dependent on the light? The O dependent on the desire, meaning that the light does not coerce the ratzon to love. It has to come from the creature, the common ani, the common I, between the creator and the creature. Also depends on the creature, but the emanator on his own part is not dependent, God forbid, in the creature. We cannot say that the light is dependent on the desire. The light, meaning the reception of the light, is dependent on the desire, not the light itself. The ability for the light to be received in the desire is dependent on the desire. If there will be desire, it will receive it. If not, it wouldn't. Is that clear? So let's summarize this letter 14. What did we say? We spoke of the tzimtzum, the restriction. We said that what starts the tzimtzum is a choice of yeter dvekut, more adhesion. This choice was made in Malchut Ein Sof. After the choice, we already exited the world of Ein Sof, and we came to a new world called Olam HaTzimtzum, the world of restriction. In the world of the tzimtzum, there was the shame, the busha, and then the Malchut restricted her desire to receive, and the light withdrew. All her restriction of the desire that in the form of in order to bestow. Meaning that everything that will happen from now on will happen only on this form in order to bestow. Only in this form in order to bestow. Whatever will not happen, anything that happens in this form, if it doesn't happen on this form, it means I did something wrong. Up to here on the tzimtzum, are there any questions? So you're asking, how did you know what to bestow is? And the answer is, the Malchut is comprised, it's complex. That's what we learned in opening me, in internal light, in letter 50. That means that it has a quality of bestowal in the Malchut. And when she looked at that quality of bestowal, it knew what it was. Therefore, she knew what it is to bestow. And thanks to this force of Bina that's within her, it gave her the ability to choose bestowal. Okay? How much to receive in order to bestow? That's something we're going to learn in part B, Chelik Bet, in the restriction by, in the coupling by stroke. Zivug de'aka.
כמו שאמרת לי, היה שם גירוי.
It's like you told me, there was a stimulus.
גירוי מלכתחילה, בהתחלה, לפני, מה... גירוי של לרצות בכלל, כאילו אולי אתה יכול לדעת.
Well, to want something, but if you don't have a stimulus or something that will lead you to that, so meaning the Creator also embedded within you the stimuli. You mean the choice in more dvekut? More adhesion? No. Yom is asking if there was no stimulus that the Malchut started everything. So if she started it, it all depends on her. So why do we say that Hashem did? He did and he does and he will do for all the actions. The answer is that choice is not action. The choice is only a mental motion. It's not the actual action. The actual doing was done by the Creator, and there was a stimulus for that. What was the stimulus for the action of the Tzimtzum? The Busha. And that's something the Creator did, the shame. That was the stimulus for the restriction. But for the choice, you do not need a stimulus. The choice is a mental sensation. It's like an urge? No, it's like love. Giving. Yes. Chapter 3. Explanation of the origin of the neshama. Machzevet ha-neshama. Letter 15. Now we shall explain the matter of the origin of the neshama. We learned that in what letter? In letter Gimel or Dalet? Dalet. We studied in letter Dalet that the neshama is a part of God. In letter Gimel he said that the neshama is apart from godliness above. So he repeats that again here. We asked how and in what does the tzura of the neshama differ from his opashut, his simple light, that separates her from everything. So what made her a part of his godliness? We can now understand that there's really a great shinui tzura in her. Although he, meaning not his essence, although he contains all the conceivable and imaginable forms, still after the above words you find one tzura that is not contained in him. Which one is it? Namely, the tzura of the will to receive, ratzon lekabel, which is called the desire within matter. The God forbid, who will he receive from? Because we spoke about this. What kind of excuse is that? That he's not going to have anyone to receive from, and that's why he's not going to receive? What did we say about that? Yum.
Okay, Shimon. לא יודע. אני יודע עברית.
It is written then who will he receive from? It can't be that he has a desire to receive, because who will he receive from? What kind of an excuse is that? Because if he has anybody to receive from, because he has anyone to receive from, that means he has a deficiency, a lack. But he has no lack. Who to receive from? From the prior cause. But he has no prior cause, so who will he receive from? However, the neshamot, whose creation came about because he wanted to delight them, which is the thought of creation, as mentioned above, were necessarily carved with this law of wanting and yearning to receive Shefa, meaning the creatures were created with the desire to receive pleasure. That is where they differ from him. So how do they differ from him? Blessed he. Karen? How do they differ from each other or from him? How do the neshamot differ from the Creator, from Abore? Correct. Because they have a desire to receive. And the Creator doesn't. That's what makes them a part. The Creator does not have a desire to receive, and they do have a desire to receive. It's very simple, it's not complicated. Where did this desire to receive come from? How can he give something he doesn't have? Existence out of absence. Yesh me'ayin. How can he create an action of yesh me'ayin, existence out of absence? Because he's almighty, he can do anything he wants. It has already been explained that a corporeal essence becomes separate and divided by the force of motion and remoteness of location. However, the spiritual essence becomes separated and divided by shinui tzura, in equivalence of form. The measure of shinui tzura determines the measure of the distance between one another. So the form needs to be very remote, and if the Creator is all but desire to bestow, and the creature is all but desire to receive, so they are far apart as east is from west, meaning in a very extreme oppositeness. Oh, we read that. And to the extent of the Shinui Tzura from one another, that's how remote they are from each other. If the Shinui Tzura becomes completely opposite, then one end, then they are completely severed and separated, and they can no longer suck one from one another, and they are regarded as aliens. If we want to suck or suckle, so there needs to be an equivalence of form. There needs to be an equivalence of form. And between the desire to receive and the light, or the Creator, there is no equivalence of form. In the Ein Sof. So what does he tell us in this letter? That whatever that which separates the neshama to be a part from the Creator is the desire to receive. What does it mean in our lives? Because we have all sorts of pleasures. So why you or I enjoy one thing and not another thing? Bar, for example, she enjoys one thing and not another. Yeah, you're part of the general soul, but why only part? But all your pleasures, let's say you enjoy eating an apple now. What is the pleasure? Where does it come from? that pleasure to eat an apple, which is separated from your general pleasure. What makes it apart? The fact that now you have a certain desire to eat apple, this particular desire that is separated from a desire to eat orange, the fact that we have differences in the desire, the fact that we have different various desires, that makes each and every pleasure individual. Why do I want to drink? And I enjoy drinking, but I also enjoy eating. Because these are two different types of desires. To the extent that we have a wide plethora of desires, to that extent we have different pleasures. Because a pleasure is the clothing of light in a vessel. The clothing of a light in a vessel, that's called tanu, pleasure. And even within a person, one person, there are different pleasures. So when I have a pleasure from a certain thing, that's called neshama. Much like if somebody gives me pleasure, so how do we say? In the Sephardics, they say, neshama sheli, my soul. What is neshama sheli? You're like my light, my pleasure. I receive the pleasure from you. So the different pleasures are like different little souls that are within our big overall soul. We have the overall soul, and we have the God delight, and we are parts. And what makes the parts? Different desires. Therefore, Reuben has a certain desire, Shimon has a particular desire, Dinah has a certain desire, and each desire like this is also divided to sub-desires. Why everyone has different desire? Why does everyone have a different desire? Because we need together to build one complete puzzle. Everyone comes to do something from within his desire, which is specific to his desire. And if you manifest your desire, then you do not only correct for yourself, you correct for the entire puzzle. And therefore, every person, and that's one of the beautiful things that there are, that each one a person makes an action, which is a true action from his desire, which is an act of correction. He actually corrects and helps everyone. And when, thank God, with God's help, every soul will correct itself. Are we going to be one complete soul in front of the Creator and we'll still have a desire to receive, or will it be and so forth? What exactly? The answer is that there will be a desire to receive, and there will also be a separate desire to receive, which is not separated. It will be rather distinct, and what will connect it will be a common form. For example, if you see in one person, let's say you love eating an apple, and let's say you also love dancing, and you like doing yoga. You like yoga, right? She's a teacher for yoga. She's an instructor. So let's say you like doing these three things, but you do all of them when each one of them is connected to your overall entity that wants to love life. So all these desires are connected within you. It's not like you only live the moment. You live within each moment this overall thing within you, this overall entity within you. Baal Sulam says that every person that reaches his Gmar Tikkun, he becomes like Adam Rishon. So he says everyone will be Adam Rishon. How could it be? Because everyone will act the overall desire, and much like the hand fills the entire body, to that extent the ear and the leg, they will fill the entire body. So like I care now, for example, about all of us, and also Yom, he cares about all of us, and also Shimon cares about all of us, and even Asaf cares about everyone. So everyone, his I, his ani, is everything, but everyone in his own way, he will love everyone in his own way. So in this matter will be particles, but every part will act towards the goodness of the collective, and that's what's going to give pleasure to the Creator.
אתה עושה בזה אם אתה משנה את התת-מודע שלך, מתכנת אותו לפי איך שאתה רוצה?
So if you program your subconscious
כאילו איך שאתה באמת...
not the way you... Okay, so let's say a person programs or changes his subconscious not according to his true nature. So either he becomes crazy or he suffers.
משתגע הרב, ואיך זה מתבטא?
Goes crazy?
כאילו בגשמי.
Meaning in corporeality. No, also in his mental. He suddenly does things that are totally against himself. He does things that are bad for him, that hurt him, and it makes him crazy. But the fact is we don't see that. Yeah, we do see it. Unfortunately, we see too much of that. When people want things that are opposite of what actually does good to them, and more than that, that they already know in their brain that it's not good for them, and still they cannot overcome that. Homework. Questions. First question. Write in a flow chart the order of the Tzimtzum from Malchut Ein Sof all the way to this world. Second question. Although him, meaning the Creator, blessed be he, although he includes all the forms that one can conceive, there is yet one form that is not included within him. What is it? And why? And what does it teach us? What does it teach us on the choice of more adhesion? Yetel Vikut. I'm sorry, not what it teaches us. Rather, what does it teach us on the neshama, on the soul? That's it for today. Oh, actually, one more question. What is neshama, a soul? What's the difference between the souls? And how do we learn that within one person? Within one person. How do we learn multiplicity of neshamot within one person? היינו צריכים לכתוב את השאלות. טוב, פעם הבאה נעשה, כן, חשבתי על זה. שיהיה לו לבא.